into the den. Lions News Fan Report Faithful. If you're fired up for every spine-tingling beat of Detroit's gridiron heart, smash that like button and subscribe right now, because what we're about to unpack could shake Ford Field to its core. Have you ever felt that electric charge in the air when everything seems set for glory, only to realize there's a hidden quake about to rattle the lineup? Could the one piece everyone counted on suddenly be cast aside in favor of youth and cap relief? Is Brad Holmes ready to press cut on a veteran leader in his contract year, just as our defense primes for another playoff push? We've seen Aiden Hutchinson rise from shattered bones to pass rush maestro, and Jack Campbell evolve into the thundering anchor of our second level. So where does that leave the steady hand of Alex Anzalone, our once-celebrated warrior with 395 tackles, 22 stops for loss, and 6.5 sacks etched onto his resume? Think back to OTAs, when Campbell and Derek Barnes strutted their contract extensions while Anzalone's Instagram absence spun its own rumor web, hinting that perhaps his frontline spot was slipping through his fingers. What if that Instagram snapshot wasn't just off-day silliness but a silent farewell to the jersey he's worn since 2021? Imagine the cap space freed by jettisoning a 30-year-old stalwart who's earned every snap but now finds himself in a crowded room of hungry young linebackers, from Malcolm Rodriguez slowly clawing back from an ACL grind to Zach Cunningham recruited as insurance. Could Dan Campbell, who publicly downplayed Anzalone's offseason disappearance, actually be planting the seeds for a seismic shakeup in Detroit's defensive core? Picture the locker room buzz as coaches weigh the cost of experience against the promise of explosive legs and next-gen energy. Barnes already inked for $24 million, Gibbs looming for his payday, Williams and Hutchinson demanding long-term love. With the salary cap crunch tightening like a vice, might Holmes gamble on potential over-proven grit? And if Anzalone wakes up one morning to find his playbook empty and his Pro Bowl dreams on pause, what does that say about the design of this defense? Is our leader on and off the field about to become the sacrifice at the altar of financial maneuvering? Could this bold, brutal decision be the spark that either ignites a new era of young blood ferocity or backfires in the glare of Monday night spotlights? The questions swirl like winter winds off the river. Will the Lions really trim the veteran wings of their defense just as the hunt for a championship stampedes toward November? Stick around, because in just a moment we'll peel back the layers of Dan Campbell's true intentions, delve into insider chatter from the locker room, and explore whether cutting Alex Anzalone could be the stroke of genius that elevates Detroit's pass rush or the misstep that haunts this franchise all season long. If you believe the Lions are finally ready to roar, hit that like button and let's finish what we started. Picture this: the front office executes the unthinkable, trading veteran Alex Anzalone or releasing him outright to clear cap space, and in his place arrives Trey Hendrickson, the relentless edge hunter whose 12.5 sacks and jaw-dropping 29 pressures last season transformed the New Orleans Saints defense. Imagine Hendrickson lining up opposite Aiden Hutchinson, their combination unleashing a two-headed monster that opponents dread more than any Thanksgiving Day collapse. Detroit's identity would shift from a unit built on disciplined run-stopping and young promise to an all-out pass-rush juggernaut, a defense daring enough to dictate the game's tempo, daring enough to steal momentum with back-to-back strip sacks. For the fan in row 37, chanting, "Let's go Lions," becomes more than tradition. It becomes a dare, a challenge to the rest of the league. Bring your best quarterback, we'll crush him. Historically, Detroit has flirted with greatness. Remember, the '93 playoff run when Chris Spielman embodied heart and tenacity, or the no-risk-it, no-biscuit era under Matthew Stafford and Jim Caldwell, where the offense refused to back down. Now, envision this pass-rush rebirth rekindling that same fire, but on defense, forcing opposing signals to tremble at the mere thought of stepping into the pocket. Statistically, the leap is staggering. Anzalone's 0.4 sacks per game pale next to Hendrickson's 0.78, and his 8 forced fumbles over the past 2 years eclipse Detroit's entire linebacker core combined. Conversations with insiders whisper that coaches are drooling over tape showing Hendrickson chasing down mobile quarterbacks on 3rd and long, while analytics teams rave about a projected 15% increase in pressure rate simply by inserting his speed and hand technique into our scheme. Yet, there's risk. You sacrifice Anzalone's locker room leadership, his knack for diagnosing screens before they develop, his role as a bridge between defensive rooms and head coach Dan Campbell. Will the younger linebackers, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes, step up to fill that void in the huddle, or will they crumble under the weight of elevated expectations? Lion hearts around the Motor City pulse with anticipation, remembering too well the agony of missed playoff bids when our defense wilted under postseason lights. Could this bold swap be the remedy to our postseason curse? Or will we look back on this moment as the gamble that cost us cohesion and plunged us into chaos? One thing is clear. If Hendrickson arrives, Ford Field transforms overnight. Opposing. Announcers will speak in hushed tones of Detroit's newfound ferocity, and fans will wear number 91 jerseys alongside Hutchinson's number 97 in a symphony of silver and blue. And when Sunday's final whistle blows, we'll know whether Holmes and Campbell played chess or checkers with this roster move. In the echo of those final chants, imagine the ripple effect through the locker room. Rookies like Jack Campbell and Malcolm Rodriguez, eyes wide with the realization that Detroit spares no expense in building a contender, their confidence skyrocketing as they line up behind a pass rush that now features 2 Pro Bowl-caliber hunters. Picture defensive meetings where game tapes switch focus from watch Anzalone's reads to study Hendrickson's rip move, injecting every practice rep with an urgency that transcends preseason hype. This isn't just a roster tweak, it's a cultural jolt, a message that the front office and coaching staff believe without question that the path to glory demands guerrilla warfare in the trenches, that championships are born from the clash of shoulders and the snap of collars under relentless pressure. And what about the ripple beyond Ford Field? Envision the chatter on the national shows, analysts pausing mid-sentence to marvel at Detroit's brass, asking if this is the NFL's boldest mid-off-season pivot, and speculating whether rivals like Green Bay or Minnesota can answer a duo this fierce. Think of the terror in Matthew Stafford's former Rams adversaries, or the Panthers' rookie quarterback who now studies tape of a defense that just got younger, faster, and more merciless. Could this move spark a domino effect, forcing NFC North foes to scramble for upgrades, igniting a bidding war for edge talent? Suddenly, the Lions aren't just playing catch-up. They're setting the pace, daring every franchise in the division to match their audacity. But here's the final beat to consider. In the roar of a sold-out Ford Field, when that hit echoes across the stadium and the crowd leaps to its feet, we'll know if this gamble was genius or folly. Will Hendrickson's arrival signal the turning of a page in Lions lore, etching 2025 as the year Detroit refused to settle? Or will we look back and wonder if letting Anzalone walk away cost us the cohesion and grit that once kept this defense in games? The answers lie waiting in the clash of pads and the final stat sheet. But one thing remains indisputable. Detroit has placed its chips on an edge-rushing future, and whatever the outcome, this fan base will be right there, roaring louder than ever. So tell me, Lions faithful, does the thought of this audacious maneuver send chills down your spine? Are we witnessing the dawn of a new defensive dynasty? Or are we on the brink of seeing our veteran cornerstone, Anzalone, fading into the rearview mirror of Lions history? Buckle up, because whatever happens next, Detroit's roar will be heard across the league, louder, prouder, and hungrier than ever.